Hello, welcome to Joy News at 6. The news is live on Joy 99.7 FM and hits 103.9 FM in Accra. In Kumasi, we are on Love 99.5 FM and over 30 affiliates across Ghana's 16 regions, including Sankara FM Yendi, Castle FM Cape Coast, Laura FM Laura, and Radio Max Takrade. Get radio, TV, and online content on the myjoyonline.com interactive app for Android and iOS devices. Coming up, Kolebu Teaching Hospital backtracks on its announced increase in the cost of renal dialysis treatment after backlash.
Charging this amount, it's just a matter of time before the private facilities that we are currently patronizing also increase their prices.
We have details that it says until parliamentary approval is approved, the old price will be maintained. Also, independent presidential aspirant Alan Tremontin discloses he was starved of resources to fully implement government's flagship.
They require resources to deliver. There's no doubt about that, but this is something that you can easily interrogate. I mean, look at the allocation of resources.
Plus, he takes on NPP National Chairman Stephen Intim, describing his posture as unfortunate for suggesting he attempted to persuade him from resigning from the party.
I don't like what the national chairman has put out. It's disingenuous. It's very unfortunate. He's a very good friend of mine.
In business, the value of Ghana's economy reaches a little over 800 billion cedis ending June this year and later. Government scholarship support uncertain for next year as the Secretariat warns of financial strain.
Because if it's just an increment, we'll be talking about maybe 1,000%. If that is not enough to sort out existing liabilities, it means that new opportunities will not be opened for scholarship next year.
These are more coming up shortly. Please stay. After public backlash, the Kolebu Teaching Hospital has backtracked on its increase in the cost of renal dialysis treatment from 380 cedis to 765 cedis. The hospital says a price review proposal presented by the renal dialysis unit is yet to receive consideration and approval by management of the hospital. We'll bring you details of the statement shortly, but first listen to 26-year-old Stella Wusu, whose mother has a kidney condition. She says she's been crying since the day she learned about the new prices.
Because even bringing my mom to this private facility, 460 cedis twice a week, I don't even get it. So it's once a week I get for my mom. And so we're really hopeful that Kolebu will open and then ease our troubles a little. And then I wake up at dawn and I see the prices being shot up to 765. The first question I was asking myself is, if government sector is charging this amount, it's just a matter of time before the private facilities that we are currently patronizing also increase their prices.
Editor Elton Brobe joins me in studio now with details of the statement released by the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Elton, what does it say?
According to the hospital, this is to inform the general public and patients that the price review proposal presented by the renal dialysis unit is just to receive consideration and approval by the management of Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Any proposed fees will be forwarded to Parliament through the Ministry of Health for approval. Only after due parliamentary approval will any revised fees be implemented. It says the hospital management appreciate the challenges confronting renal dialysis patients and will continue to collaborate with stakeholders and philanthropists to help subsidize dialysis reagents and services for the treatment of many patients. It concludes by saying that until parliamentary approval is granted, the old price will be maintained.
Thank you, Elton Brobe. Now, when the lack of a hospital bed resulted in a delayed surgery for Rachel and Peter's son, causing permanent disability, they channeled the situation into an avenue to help other parents and children. Their son, who is unable to walk now, is also part of the move. Here's a story by Hannah Odami.
I prayed that one day I will walk.
9-year-old Cornelius Kwabena Adom, who loves to sing and play the keyboard, was born with a deformity. His parents got a shock when they were told their son may not be able to walk if a repair surgery was not done on him in the first 14 days of his life.
And they were telling us the surgery, sometimes after doing it, it's either you lose the lower limbs and other things, but we pray.
Getting a bed at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital became the bane. After waiting for a month, it was too late, and Cornelius was left with no luxury of walking.
Before he would even be born, the father named him Cornelius. So I even speak with Cornelius. No matter whatever you are going through, you will survive.
After experiencing the dire circumstances under which parents with such situations face, Rahel and her husband founded the Challenged Children Foundation to aid children and parents alike.
We have the cerebral palsy, the autism, then to those who cannot walk.
So how are you taking care of all of them?
And the family have to cut down our expenses.
It's only the women who bring the children to physio. I'm telling the men that they don't have to abandon the children.
I did not know why I could not walk, so I decided to encourage myself by playing the keyboard. And I also decided to encourage others that if I can make it, all of the disability people can make it. Patience of this.
Hannah Odami for Joy News.
Away from that, independent candidate Alan Tremanting has disclosed that he was starved of the necessary funds to execute government flagship One District, One Factory initiative during his tenure as Trades and Industry Minister. Alan Tremanting, who recently resigned from the NPP to pursue an independent presidential bid, expressed his frustrations in an exclusive interview with Evans Mensah.
Required resources.
They require resources
to deliver.
There's no doubt about that, but this is something that you can easily interrogate. I mean, look at the allocation of resources amongst the flagship program. It's very easy to verify that, and I mean, obviously...
But that wasn't the picture we got when you were in charge. We got a picture that everything was okay.
But don't talk about the picture that you I mean, if that's my priority...
And you give us a picture because you were the minister then.
He described the party's national chairman, Stephen Ntim's track on concerns he raised with the Super Delegates Conference as unfortunate.
I don't like what the national chairman has put out. It's disingenuous. It's very unfortunate. He's a very good friend of mine. You are chairman of a party. You come to me to ask about whether I have any challenges with what is going on. I scope for you all the things that I believe have been going wrong. I've had personal conversations with him before, and he's aware of that. So he comes, I tell him that, look, I've complained about these things. You have not done anything about them.
Mr. Tremanting also rejected claims MPs who supported his bid as flag bearer for the presidential race have deserted him.
So I've moved on. I want to serve Ghana. So I don't have a problem with them. And if somebody is a parliamentarian who believed in my vision, but who is unable now to work with me only because he represents a constituent on the ticket of the NPP, I don't think there's any problem. It's not, we shouldn't see it as desertion or anything like that.
Alan Tremanting there. Now, if you're seeking government's funding for your studies in the upcoming year through the Scholarship Secretariat, your hopes may be dashed as the Secretariat suggests it's facing financial challenges. The Secretariat cites the depletion of its resources due to existing liabilities it is servicing. Registrar Dr. Kingsley Ajiman revealed that it requires a substantial increase in funding to accommodate new applicants. He spoke exclusively to my colleague Blessed Suga.
Understanding our liabilities now, if our estimates that will be presented to the Ministry of Finance when they look at overall picture, if you don't get it, it will be very difficult to service new applications. What that will mean is that our preoccupation next year will be to deal with the existing liabilities or the debt, continue to pay off. If you don't get up to a certain amount, there may not be new opportunities.
In percentage terms, what are you asking?
Because if it's just an increment, we'll be talking about maybe 1,000%.
Registrar of Scholarship Secretariat, Dr. Kingsley Ajiman. Now to Tech Thursday, building a house can be challenging, especially with the rising cost of construction materials. This has made it difficult for many people to build their dream homes. Fortunately, Frida Imbabazi, a final year student of Ashesi University, is using palm kernel shells to substitute construction. Now, Love FM's Kwesi Debra has more.
Frida sought to produce affordable concrete for building construction. The goal was to replace a portion of the aggregate with the palm kernel shell, making it cheap because palm kernel shells are mostly considered waste. Series of experiments were conducted to test the strength.
We was testing the load-bearing capacity of the sample Then the fracture test where I analyzed its deformation ability, and I also carried the thermal analysis which analyzed how fast temperature can pass through the sample. I later on carried the drop test which analyzed the impact of external load on the sample. I carried out the hardness test which analyzed how strong a material can resist to indentation. After carrying out the test, the results showed that 5% palm kernel shell reinforcement reduced the amount of money spent in making concrete and also increased the mechanical properties of concrete.
Reporter for Joy News, Kwesi Debra.
And that's it for our bulletin. In our top story, Kolebu Teaching Hospital backtracks on its announced increase in the cost of renal dialysis treatment after public backlash. Business is next on the Super Morning Show. I am Amisi Nyamiche Thompson.